Hello everyone and welcome to Lush and Salty Aquariums. My name is Stefan. Thank you for coming to my channel. It's super late here and I decided to make a rare nocturnal video. That almost sounds illicit, doesn't it? I'm filming very late at night. With the time change, the lights on my aquarium are staying on later than normal. I'll have to adjust that or let the daylight savings just work itself out with the fish. But it gave me an opportunity to take a look at the mother of all my fish tanks, the 135-gallon freshwater display in the middle of the night. The only color, but oh my gosh, what color. More blazing than anything else right now here in Chicago. I bet all your aquariums are much the same way. In a few weeks, the buds and everything else will start to pop up, the crocuses, tulips, things like that. What a wonderful time that is. But right now, this brief lull, this calm before the storm of spring, and now our colors, our most magnificent colors in our homes, in our minds, in our hearts and minds, and through these eyes and through this camera, are our fish tanks. And oh my God, isn't that what this hobby is all about? Making these silly videos makes them not so silly. It makes them almost like psalms. Every film we make capturing one of our beloved fish tanks like an ode to joy. That's what I'm feeling anyway. I'm guessing you can tell by the sound of my voice. The fish tank is looking really good. Because I've been doing so much writing, as I talked about in an earlier video, my other passion, I'm a writer. And I've spoken about that, but I don't want to get into it too much now, but that is both my vocation and my avocation. I earned a living writing, and now I'm working on a serious big project, a book actually, and that is all to say that I haven't been as on top of all my maintenance as I usually am, and I'm pretty religious about that stuff. But obviously I've been good enough because, I mean, look at the shimmer. Where to begin? The rainbow fish, those big, bruising, beautiful male Bosemani right up there. There's a female, you can see with the lesser overall color. She's no slouch, but sorry, but the guys win that gender war. And then, look at that glorious shimmer on the dwarf praecox, that super common rainbow right there. That's about as big as they get, that glorious red finnage indicating unequivocally that is a male. The females show yellow. It's such a wonderful, easy way to tell the sexes apart with that species. Were that it so simple with many of the other creatures, not just in this tank, but in the hobby in general. But I'm following that male praecox. You can see it's not as big as the Bosemani, but it's big. And oh gosh, the teacup shaped Millennium rainbow fish, that rust red color. I mean, I've got a lot of swordtails and platies that run the gamut of reds, far brighter than this one, but there's something so, I don't know, gosh, so natural, but yet a testament to nature's glory. I mean, it's a beautiful looking fish. I always say about the Millennium rainbow fish and rainbow fish in general that they're sort of like what an 8-year-old draws when they draw fish. They don't quite get the dimensions right. The head's too small, the body's too big. And that funny nose and big eyes. Well, there it is, right there. A millennium rainbow fish. I can't tell. I think I have 3 males, but I can't be certain. I forget if the females show less splendid color than the males. Look at that bull right back there. Has like, it's not a nuchal hump, but the hump feature on that millennium there in the shadow is pretty significant. The newest creatures to this tank, the common pearl gourami. I had lost, there's 2 of them. I have a pair and they love to, I mean, they're not a male-female pair, not necessarily, wouldn't know. But isn't it funny how fish, even in this massive community, they find their only other kin, if by species and nothing else, and they school together. I mean, birds of a feather, fish of a flock, fish of a school. Oh yeah, you know what I'm saying. Black mollies, the most underrated algae eater in the world. Well, maybe that's pushing it, but you would be surprised. And people use them in saltwater tanks once they acclimate them. And the black molly can do very well in a saltwater system. These guys are all babies that grew up in here. I'm not gonna lie, I put in black molly fry to feed these rainbows and the angelfish, which I'll get to momentarily. But those ones escaped the predator's jaw and they grew up to be those monstrous, beautiful black mollies. Now that's a gold dust one there with the speckles, and not all of my fry were, you know, thrown jet black. There was probably some breeding with a marigold molly or a red molly. I mean, they all carry genes for, or potentially for different color morphs. And that's part of the fun, but like a lot of you, I'm partial to the jet black ones because, well, because jet black is awesome. Girls know it from the little black dress, and guys know it from the black sports car that's in all of our fantasy bucket lists. But the black molly's got it in spades, like the ace of spades. Awesome fish. I didn't want live bears in here per se, but I don't have a choice now. And since I believe you can't beat them, join them, I have added some other fry from my platies and swordtails, and maybe we'll come across them. The lights will go off shortly, and that could happen. There's a school of Harlequin rasboras in the Cryptocorn balancea there. It's so funny because during the day, diurnally, they always hang out over here. And these cardinal tetras tend to hang out over there. So go figure, they change territories depending on the time of day or night. There's a very classic, the iconic, straight up silver angelfish, right? Stellare. And then I've got the same thing, but in a much more fanciful version with those killer fins, that veal tail. Those two have spawned for me in the distant past, but not recently. Then I've got the potential tank boss, although he's not aggressive at all, but we think marble angels, and when they get sized like this, we tend to think of them as, you know, aggressive cichlids, and they are, but the 4 angelfish I have, over a lot of trial and error, these 4 do not have problems with not only the other fish in the tank, but with themselves, which can be even more vexing of a challenge for us fish keepers. Down along the bottom, there are so many critters. There you see an Eldophis corridora with the yellow saddleback. A more classic bronze corridora. I've got I was going to talk about more Coriodoras, but there's a Brazilian ram. I've got 2 pairs of those, and they occupy, as you would expect, the bottom region of the aquarium. Each have their own territories. No spawning that I'm aware of, but they're civil with one another. There's the bronze Corridori, there's a Sterbai Corridora, there's the Adolphus or Adolphi Corridora. I've got any number of bristlenose. There's two lemon or albino. I can't tell exactly right now. You can usually, I mean, you can definitely tell by their eyes. If it's red, it's an albino. If it's black or blue, it's, you know, the lemon and blue eye. But from here and with no light around me and the vision of an old man, I can't tell. I got a whole bunch of them. They've all spawned. I've got the chocolate, bristlenose, long fin, straight fin, super red. They're all in here. And you probably see some as I tootle along. I caught the fin of one. There's one kicking up right there. I've got Farawalla catfish in here. Any number of snails and invertebrates. I haven't seen one in a minute, but there's a bunch of other cleaner crew in here. What am I thinking of? Oh God, I've been up too late. Been writing a lot, and it is late, and I can't think of a super common fish. It's right on the tip of my tongue. There's one of the newer plants in here, sort of a common lily. I forget the scientific name. I think it's called the Chinese water lily, at least in the trade sometimes. It took a minute for it to get happy, but it seems pretty cool right there as it sort of climbs up the bogwood. I've got that incredible spray from the sword plant. I mean spray like a stage set, a flying V, the rays of the sun, and boom, look at that. Crazy, right? And there you can see, FYI, there's a mother plant that I could harvest that whole terrestrial version of it, and I could plant that like a house plant probably if I kept it moist, or I could float it on top, give it to someone, trade. It's just cool to see that happen. I get a bunch of flowers up there too. So how about that, folks? I haven't really talked about plants that much. I know I'm very guilty of leaning into the plant part of the hobby, sometimes forgetting the reason we're all here in the first place, the fish. And, oh, there we go. There's a few classic young swordtails, I think. It's hard to tell there. I think those are female swordtails. I've got males in here too. They could be red mollies as well. Again, I beg your pardon. I'm not as smart as I think I am. Look at that Bucephalandra, the whole colony there. Yeah, there's some spotted algae, and you know, that'll happen. We're getting on 3+ years in this tank that Anubias has been in there the whole time. And there's tons of fresh new growth. There's a beautiful looking flower. But you're good, you know, the old leaves, and I could get in there and cut them. Same with that Bucephalandra, and I will. But I've been writing, and it's not a high priority because it's not creating a detriment to any of the inhabitants in this fish tank. In many ways, probably helping. I know I have a preponderance of bristlenose, and they will feed on weak or dying leaves. So to the degree that there's some of that in there, it can't hurt. Hey buddy. See, that's a lemon blue eye. You can tell by even through the iPhone, very clearly blue eyes, so not an albino or albino. Any questions, folks? I'm so glad the lights didn't pop off while I was filming. They will right now, you wanna bet? If you do have questions or comments, I'd love to hear from you. I know this tank is a crowd pleaser, so I always brim with pride when people comment about it. I haven't talked about the technology, the equipment in here, and I should, and I would, and I will, but not tonight. I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna post this at the bright light of day. As always, folks, keep your hands in the tank, and ciao for now.